Recording has started, so welcome to this instance of the Antrea community meeting. Today is Tuesday, September the 28th, unless you live in the west coast of the United States, where it will still be Monday, September the 27th. And for today, we will have Wenning presenting us an OVS flexible pipeline design for OpenWithWhich. I do not have any other topic on the agenda, but then there will be, of course, open discussion. And we'll probably just wait a few more seconds as I see team members are still joining, and then we will get started. Okay, it seems that we can get started now. So, as I said, in the agenda for today, we have the presentation about the OVS flexible pipeline design. So, Wenning, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Sure. Thanks, Salvato. Now I share my screen now. So flexible pipeline. First, I want to introduce generic pipeline template. I want to introduce 10 stages for the pipeline, including this one. You could see the picture in my doc. First is the classifier stage. Actually, for all the 10 stages are static, and the order for the stage is fixed. A packet walks in through the tables in our stage one by one by default, and it is allowed to have 0 tables in a stage, and then the packet actually goes to the first table in the next stage. We should allow packets to skip some stages in a pipeline, even if there are tables in the stages. First is for the classifier stage. The classifier stage is used to classify the traffic. For example, we could use the classifier stage to mark the packet source, like what Antrea is currently doing. And also we could use the classifier stage to classify the packets for different pipelines. For example, we want to use a pipeline for IP packets and a pipeline for ARP. For IP, additionally, we even use a different pipeline for IP unicast or multicast in future, I guess. Then the second stage is validation stage. We could use the validation stage to have some pre-check for the packet before we forwarding or routing the packet or do the policy something else. So for example, we currently use the SpoofGuard table to check the IP import number and the MAC address for the packet to avoid RP chip in the packet. So we could also use the SpoofGuard table in the validation stage after using the flexible pipeline. Besides, we also use the connection track for the connections. So for a reply packet or for the established connections, we might need to check the connection state. Then we could use the validation stage to check connection state. Then the third stage is pre-routing stage. When a packet enters the pre-routing stage, it has passed the previous 2 stages, and we use this stage to perform DNIT on the packet if necessary, or any other operations on the packet before performing routing. Since OS supports performing DNIT in a connection track zone, and the DNIT on the reply packet should be performed in a table in the validation stage, just as I mentioned. Then the next stage is the egress security stage. This stage is used to perform the network policy egress rules. And then is for the routing stage. We could use this stage to route the packets according to the layer 3 destination address. Just like the existing code, we set the destination MAC address according to the destination address, and then decrement the TTL if the packet is forwarding only inside the OS. And the TTL is performing when the original source and the destination address are not in the same subnet. Then after taking the routing on the packets, we come to the post-routing stage, and we perform SNET on the packets in this stage. These operations might be taken on service traffic if we find the source address and the destination address is the same. Then we might take SNET to avoid the traffic is not forwarding correctly. The same as the DNet stage, the same as the pre-routing stage. The same as the DNet traffic, we also perform DSNet on the reply packets in the validation stage. Then we come to the switching stage. It is used for the layer 2 traffic forwarding, and we use the overflow entries to make the destination MAC, and then calculated the target OS port number. Besides, we could also use the layer 2, the switching stage, to perform some hairpin similar operations on the packets. Then we come to the ingress security stage, and this stage is used to perform the ingress network policy rules. If a connection has passed the egress and ingress network policy check, we need to commit the packet to commit the connection to a generic contract zone. And this operation is useful to is helpful to apply the network policy rules on the sequencing packets. And the last stage is output stage. It's just like what we have done in Antrea for the layer 2 output table. And in this stage, we will output the packet to OS port so that the packet will leave the OS pipeline. This is for the stages. And for pipeline template, it is also a new concept introduced in the flexible pipeline. Pipeline template is used to describe the expected OS pipeline for a feature, for example, a connectivity feature or service or network policy. Each feature can declare one or many pipeline templates according to the use case. For example, if the connectivity feature has different requirements in pod networking and VM networking, it can define 2 different pipeline templates. For example, for the pod connectivity, we might support a layer 3 routing and a layer 2 forwarding. But for VM connectivity, we might only forward the packets from uplink to the bridge directly, and the template might be simpler, might be easier than the pod connectivity. This is the strict definition for the pipeline templates. We might need to declare the stage tables and the expected contract zones and the feature IDs in a template. A feature declares the expected tables in the pipeline template and organizes the tables according to the static stages. It is not necessary to declare all static stages in a pipeline template, but it must declare the tables in which the feature needs to install a new flow entry. I mean that if a feature needs to install flow entry in a table, then it must declare the table in its template. If a feature needs to leverage the OS contract zone, it should declare the expected contract zones in the pipeline template. For table request, which is used in the stage tables, the structure is like this. We have a name for the feature table, and we have the OS table in the structure, and we have the stage ID and the features. Since we could declare a table in different pipeline templates by the features, so here we use a set for the features. That means the table might have many features. And for table request, we should include the table, the feature table, and the priority. The priority is used to organize the table sequence. A higher priority means a table will be allocated a smaller number of the table ID. That is to say, a higher priority of the table request. The table should be, the packet might enter the table prior than other tables with the lower priority. And for the contract zone request, we should declare the expected contract zone IDs in the template. For pipeline, as I mentioned, the pipeline template is defined by feature, but for OS, we have a pipeline generated by the templates introduced by the features. A pipeline is built according to the chosen pipeline templates in the agent initialization phase, and the tables in different templates are reorganized according to the stage. Table ID is generated dynamically, and the IDs of the tables are secret pipeline. That we have the fixed number of table IDs, but for flexible pipeline, the IDs are dynamic, and the number is frequency. Many pipelines might exist at the same time. I mean, when Antrea agents, we might have multiple pipelines, and we could differentiate the pipelines according to the packet protocol, like up packet and IPv4 and IPv6. So that for the different protocol, for the packet with different protocol, it enters a unique pipeline. I mean that except for the classifier table, the table 0, a packet will not enter the pipeline for different protocols anymore. Then for the packet walking path, a packet is walking from the first table to the last table in a pipeline if it is not dropped by any table in the pipeline by default. We support 3 types of the table resubmit actions in a flow action. The first one is go to the next table. This is the action if a packet is expected to leave the current table but not output to a port or send to controller. And if the current table is the last one in a stage, the next table should be the first one in the next valid stage. a valid stage means that tables are included in the stage. The second table resubmit action is to resubmit packet to one or more tables. Here we use resubmit packet, but not go to tables. Go to table actions in the OpenFlow entries. And this action is useful for the service traffic if we want to support the session affinity or some dynamic choosing the endpoints use cases. The target tables in the resubmit actions must be in the same stage as the current table, and the tables are declared by the feature of the current flow. It is the limitation for the action. And the third resubmit table action is go to a stage. The packet actually goes to the first table in the target stage, and the target stage must be one later than current stage. This action is useful for some special traffic like the tunnel traffic. After we perform the layer 3 routing on the packet and find the packet needs to output to the tunnel, then we could ignore the ingress policy rules. Then we could use this action to skip the ingress policy rules. Following then is an example for the pipeline generation. I have defined some templates for different features. First is for the power connectivity. For power connectivity, we might want to classify the pod source. So we have the classifier stage classifier table, and we want to perform the safeguard on the packet. And then we also commit the packet to a contract zone in the contract stage. So we have the contract table and the contract state table in the validation for the reply packet. And then we need to perform the layer 3 routing or layer 3 forwarding or the TTL decrement on the packet. So we have declared the routing stage on the in the feature and including the tables we might use. Then is for the switching stage, we need to use the layer 2 forwarding calculation table to calculate the target or port number according to the destination MAC address. And the last stage is for the output table. We might output the packet to the target OS port number. This is for port connectivity. And then we come to a second feature, network policy. It has also introduced its own target stage and the tables in the template. Then we have a third feature, service is introduced its own tables. And the fourth feature is egress and so on. Then we have the VM connectivity. Then after all these the last templates for the port traffic, and after we introduce declared pipeline templates and in Antrea agent initialization phase, we might generate the flexible pipelines for according to the templates. Then we have this table generation, and the table ID is sequencing. All the tables in the same stage is one by one organized. Then I introduced in the example for the pipeline template, we have connectivity for pod and for VM. And I think these are used for two different use cases for Antrea agents. Then we might have another pipeline for VM case when Antrea agent is deploying on the VM case, and the table IDs are different from what it might be in the pod traffic. We could see that for the egress, for example, the egress rule table, in VM connectivity pipeline, its table ID is 5, but for the pod traffic, the egress rule table ID is 13. We have for to help troubleshooting the OS pipeline open flow entries. We have introduced another PR to modify the table names. Then after we dump the open flow entries, we could see the open flow table name, but not the table ID. Then every feature might focus on its own tables and the flows in the tables. It could ignore the table ID numbers and more. This is for the example, and the last topic, the last thing I want to say is about a question in the flexible pipeline design is that as I introduced, we might introduce different contract zones in different stages. For example, we use a contract zone for DNet in the preloading stage, and we use another contract zone in the post-routing stage for SNet. We even has a third contract zone for the generic connections in the contract stage. Then we might have 3 contract zones. The worry about this design is the performance. So we have a question is that, shall we use a single city contract zone for the generic connections? I mean, shall we share the contract zones with for the pod-to-pod connections with the DNet contract zone, or we just use a single contract zone? This is the candidate issue about performance. I have thought about the flexible design. All about is my content. So, any questions about? Hello. Hello. Am I lost something, or my networking is?
No, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we can hear you. I was just waiting if there was anyone that was willing to come up with any question. I personally, I do not have any question. I have to say that your presentation was very clear. Everything makes sense to me here. I need to review the document to get a better idea of how this will work. Let's say that the only question that this might be very trivial, but it's not really a question, is this design, in your opinion, what kind of benefits will bring to Antrea?
For example, if we use three contract zones, I think the coding for the features might be simple. I mean that every feature might has different contract zones, and we don't need to think about how to differentiate the packets in a zone which is shared by different features. But the bad is performance, because we might enter 3 zones, and you might know that the performance is worse if we enter a new contract zone than not entering the contract zone.
Thanks.
So,
Thanks a lot. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
no.
Is there any other question for Wenning?
Nope, I had the same question as you, Salvatore, but that's answered.
Oh, wait. Sorry, you mean the question about what?
No, I was just saying that I wanted to ask the same question as Salvatore, but he asked it for me, so it's all good.
Okay, let's wait just a few seconds in case there is any more question for the community. All right, it appears that it's all about this topic. So thanks a lot, Wenning, for this presentation. That was really nicely presented and very informative. As for your document, I believe, is that correct? We do have an issue on GitHub to track this, and the document link is available there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have created the user and paste the document.
Perfect. And good. So I believe that that's all for this topic. Is there, since we don't have any other topic on the agenda, we are now in the open discussion stage. Is there anything that you like to bring up for discussion today? All right. It seems that we don't have any topic. I just had one quick question for everyone here is how are we doing with regards to code review now? Is is the mean, let's say, the wait time for PRs to be reviewed decreasing, or do we still have like longer than expected times to get reviews on PRs? What is your feeling? I mean, for the PRs that you are submitting, do you feel like review times are within what we'll be expecting, or do you feel like we should probably try and reduce let's say mean time to review?
I think we're doing our best, Salvatore, and we're also rolling out a new tool to be able to. I think did I cover this a couple of weeks ago? I don't remember, but basically to be able to assign pull requests to the right set of people,
Yeah.
and force that we get enough reviews for each PR. So. Yeah.
Thanks, Anton. That's what I wanted to talk about, because I don't think that we've spoken about it into in the meeting here. But so you rolled out the tool, and you're seeing that it's bringing some benefits, right?
Well, we literally just started out this weekend. It's not
Okay.
like automated yet, right? It's yeah, thanks. Oh, actually, let me put the issue in the chat. I thought that's what it was, but yeah. I put the link in the chat. So we just rolled it out this week, and right now it's not automatic. It only applies to PRs that have a specific label. The label is review manager test. Of course, in the long term, it will apply to all PRs. So if I'm labeling your PR with this, it just means that I want to do a test run of the tool on that specific PR. And
perfect.
Yep, and I guess I don't really need to get into the details of this. Interested people can take a look at the issue and comment on the issue if they want to. But basically, the idea is that we're kind of gonna label PRs by area, kind of like how it's done in a way in upstream communities. and based on which area labels we apply to a PR, the owners for those specific areas are gonna get assigned as reviewers, and then when you get enough approvals from those people, the PR can be merged, basically.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And you know, connected to this, if you remember, like sometimes ago, we had Michael running some Michael Wong running some project health metrics on Antrea. Is this I don't think this is an activity that we are doing periodically, right? Perhaps could be a good idea to run these metrics like every quarter to see
I think
where.
you mean Stephen Wong.
Stephen Wong says, sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Michael.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, Stephen, right? My bad.
Actually, now that maybe people don't have the link, but now that we're CNCF project, we actually have access to a real-time graph and a dashboard where we can see the average time it takes for PR to be reviewed and for new issues to be commented on and things like this.
Oh, good. That's very useful. That's very useful to have. Thanks, thanks, Antonio. Yes, I should have access to it, but probably I was ignoring it. All right. Thanks a lot for the clarification. Okay, so good. That's all I wanted to discuss today. Anything else that we'd like to bring up?
So, Antonio, do you think we should generally start the practice to mark the PRs with arrows?
Yeah, thanks, Junjun. Yeah, I think everyone should try to get into the habit to label their PR, sorry, with the appropriate labels, area labels. And if someone thinks that a label is missing, which is definitely possible, they can like open a PR to add this label, or open an issue and we can add this label. And yeah, I mean, the better we label PRs with the correct labels, correct area labels, the better the process is gonna work.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. And to get people warm up, maybe last time we review the PRs, we can also add comments like these labels should be added if they are missing. Right.
Yeah, and everyone can add labels to other people's PR. So I mean, you can comment. You can also add labels directly. Of course, I think every author should take the habit to label their own PR when they open it. But as a reviewer or someone who just stumbles upon the PR, you can also add those labels. I expect external contributors may not be like totally familiar with the project, and so yeah.
Got it. That's even better. Thanks.
And I found the CNCF dashboard for Antrea, so let me put the link in the chat here, and people can take a look at this and should be able to browse some metrics.
Thanks for sharing this. Sorry, I was talking to myself on mute. And well, also, where do we? Oh, this is for all the CNCF projects. I believe
yeah, but if you can scroll down and you'll see a lot of metrics. Like there is a PR time to engagement.
Yeah, no, I was just, you know, to be honest with you, I was struggling to see the Antrea icon, but that's just my brain. When there are so many icons, they look all the same to me. I found Antrea, and yes, I can see that there are all the metrics. Yeah, good. Okay, great. Oh, that's very, very informative. There are a lot of things that you can look for here. Yeah, so I'll learn how to use this and how to see things. Okay, so great. Thanks for sharing this, Antonin. And well, let's see how the project metrics improve with the tool that you have developed, and with the identifications of reviewers for areas. And say that, is there anything else that we'd like to discuss for today?
For the metrics, I'm just wondering, do they provide any comparison between projects so we can know we are doing good, or there's still a gap compared to better projects?
Well, you can see the metrics for any project. And I think if you don't select any project, you can probably see aggregated metrics over the entire set of CNCF projects. I don't know if you can group by like sandbox projects, for example, versus graduated or incubating, but I'm pretty sure you can see aggregated metrics for all the projects.
What I mean that do they provide some ranking of different projects based on some specific metrics?
Probably they don't. I don't think.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. So yeah, so sorry, I was just looking at the metrics, and I started to get curious about
everyone's playing with the metrics now.
Yeah, about the numbers. Okay, so that's great. And is there anything else that we would like to discuss? I mean, I think that's all about these metrics and whatever. That's a nice thing to have. I do not think that we can compare directly project versus project, right? We can probably compare ourselves versus global metrics.
Yes, I mean, you can look at different projects one by one, but there's no ranking. I don't think so would be very much aligned with CNCF values. Yeah.
No, that will make sense. You don't want this to become like you don't want to gamify this too much, otherwise people will start gaming. So, which is not a good idea. Okay, so great. Any other topic for today? Because otherwise, we might close the call.
I guess just one more thing I wanted to add is that the mapping from area label to reviewers and approvers is part of the Antrea repository, and I put the link in the chat. So anyone can add themselves as reviewers, and then they will get a notification, and they will get assigned if a PR is open in that specific area. So if you want to add yourself to an area, everyone should be welcome to do so. We have an initial list, but anyone can become a reviewer.
Alrighty. Okay, so actually, there is one more thing that I would like to bring up. So this is our last community meeting before KubeCon North America. Now, our next community meeting should fall, if I'm not mistaken, during KubeCon itself. So I would like to first ask if there is if you would like to move the meeting, if you need to attend the KubeCon sessions, if you are like kind of busy with preparing stuff for KubeCon, or whether it's okay to keep the meeting at the same time. Is it correct? Tuesday, next meeting will be Monday the 11th US time, and I think it should be the opening day of KubeCon, which typically, is if I remember correctly, the agenda is just keynotes. But in any case, if we want to move the meeting to make things easier for everyone, we can do that. Usually, that's being 9 p.m. US time should not be a problem, but just we can discuss this also on Slack. All right, it seems that No feedback means that we are okay with keeping the meeting, so we'll keep the meeting for as scheduled. And well, I believe that's all for today, unless everyone has any other topic to bring up. I'll wait 10 seconds. Assuming that I'm not talking to myself, of course. Well, it appears that that is all for today. So I would like to, as usual, to thank everyone for joining. In particular, many thanks to Wening for today's presentation, and all the links for the things that we have discussed today are shared on the chat. So thanks again to everyone for joining. I wish all of you a good evening, a good morning, or a good afternoon. That's all for today's meeting, and talk to you in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.